is the book of Isaiah 29 and verse 6, and it reads, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts with thunder, with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire."
Hey guys, Christopher Green, AMTV. Alternative Media Television is July 10th, 2019. Please like, share this video, get it out to your friends and family everywhere. This is an emergency. We have a massive, massive storm. This could be the storm of a century hitting the Gulf Coast, and it's what is known as a homebrew storm. What that means is it developed inland, which is kind of unique, kind of rare, and then pushes back out into the Gulf Coast, into that area, and then it's about to pummel places like New Orleans, which threatens the levees. Again, we saw this under the George W. Bush era. There was martial law declared in the streets. We've seen this with Hurricane Sandy. We've seen this with Hurricane Irma. We've seen this with Hurricane Maria. Too many to mention. This hit Houston, by the way, not too long ago as well. So we have the coastline of Texas severely potentially affected. We have Georgia potentially affected. We have the Florida Panhandle potentially affected. This is going to be a massive, massive blast. And it always amazes me, these cosmic godly events, they keep occurring on an increasing frequency. The pendulum keeps swinging this way. And it's almost like people, they just are not even taking notice. They don't understand that this truly is the judgment of God. Now, this is what we're looking at. Statistically, this was a day ago. We were looking at 12 inches over a foot of rain, 12 to 14 inches. Now we're looking at 20 plus inches, 24 plus inches, 2 feet of rain in this area. So it's the rain pummeling these areas that is threatening the levees once again in New Orleans. It is threatening massive flooding. It is threatening potentially human life. It is threatening infrastructure. I don't even think the insurance companies recovered from the last hurricanes that we just experienced. So this is huge. This is absolutely epic. And, isn't it strange? We have a lot of these strange events occurring right now. For example, we've had volcanoes erupting. We've had 2 consecutive earthquakes that, by the way, the USGS system did not alert successfully its inhabitants in California running along these fault lines. Now, I also find it a little funny. People are visiting these fault lines right now like it's a tourist attraction when there's a high probability that we could have a huge impacted event, a volcanic eruption, not just in Yellowstone, but on the California coastline itself. Now, when this thing hits, by the way, if you're on the coast, you have less than 10 minutes to evacuate. 10 minutes, that's it. Tsunami warning will hit, just like what we saw in Japan, and it's not going to be a small wave. Estimates, for example, on the Oregon coastline is that if an event, when this does happen, not if, but when it does actually happen in the time scale of human events, easily we'll have 2-3 million plus people dead in an instant because they didn't get out. And we're too populated in these areas, yet we keep populating these areas as if these things aren't going to happen. I mean, take a look at New Orleans, for example. Well, we just suffered not too long ago a massive event. It's pretty obvious that there shouldn't be infrastructure in this part of the country. Yet we rebuild, and then it happens again, and again, and again. So when and where do we learn from these past mistakes? And again, in my humble opinion, this is the judgment of God. And it's exactly why we need to be prepared at all times. So we're
Sonic's Summertime Chicken BLT has basil, aioli, and melty mozzarella.
It's like they took a BLT and turned it on its head.
Oh, wait a minute. Nope, mine's just upside down.
We're going to turn now to the fallout from those earthquakes that shook Southern California this weekend. 2 major quakes, thousands of aftershocks have the region on edge. And Marcus Moore is in Ridgecrest, California with the latest. Good morning, Marcus.
George, good morning. We are feeling aftershocks this morning as residents here recover from back-to-back earthquakes, including some who are having to start over. The family who lived in this house, it burned in the aftermath of Friday's earthquake. This morning, California is a state on edge, hit by the strongest earthquakes in 20 years, sparking fires, causing thousands to lose power, and creating uncertainty in businesses and homes across the Golden State.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And with thousands of aftershocks rattling the region over the weekend, many now wondering, is the worst yet to come?
We all, I think, have a unique role and responsibility to prepare individually to be prepared for the next earthquake of magnitude even greater than 7.1.
The 1-2 punch began on July 4th in Ridgecrest, 120 miles from Los Angeles. The first quake registering a 6.4 magnitude. A day later, a second quake registering 7.1. Watch this woman unable to get up and seek safety. And this 2-year-old dangerously close to a swaying trailer.
Get up, get up, get up.
The shaking even felt at the Los Angeles Dodgers game.
How are they continuing to play baseball?
Just to give you an idea of how powerful this earthquake was, look at this. The ground is split and there's a gash in the earth. And when the violent shaking started, it shifted the ground and left a crack that stretches for as far as the eye can see through the California desert. But miraculously, no lives lost. And experts say the number of aftershocks is now dropping.
It is dropping off relatively quickly. The number of earthquakes that we're seeing here on Sunday is substantially below what we were seeing even yesterday on Saturday.
And we felt a strong jolt about just over an hour ago here in Ridgecrest. And Dr. Jones points out that the area will likely have an earthquake every hour or two, and then it will begin to go down to daily and then weekly. But there's still a 3% chance that they could see a stronger earthquake in the coming days. Mike?
All right, Shalom. It's the brother Sagalah, Gms Charlotte, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Before I get started my lesson, I want to say, Call Halo Yamla, Allah Yanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, which are the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings be to the hopeful elect, the 144,000, the house of David, the brothers pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity, and to the few Akwat, the few sisters that listen, and follow Yahweh Bashem Yahushai as well. I say shalom. I say shalom to the Bakayah, to the elect. Ha Bayath Madawadah, the house of David. I say shalom. So, just going into a quick lesson on these storms that's going on. None of it's by coincidence. The scriptures told us that in these days that you would see an increase of these activities all over the world. We saw one in China, and then we see certain ones in America and in different places of the world. And this is all predicted by the Lord, and there's all a reason behind it. I'm gonna get into that. Hopefully I edify with the scriptures. This is Isaiah 29:6, and it reads, and I started off with this at the beginning of the video. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. See, the Lord is visiting the earth. In Isaiah the 13th chapter, it says that he's coming back to repay the earth for all their wickedness. I'll get that next. It says, and thou shalt be visited of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So this is the Most High who's visiting the earth. And how is he doing it? He's doing it by bringing increasing storms, and terrible events. And that's prophesied throughout the scriptures. That, in the last days, this would go up a notch and it would intensify more and more and more. It says, thou shalt be visited of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts, with thunder, with earthquake, great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. So we know that there's been wildfires going on in California for some time, off and on. Tempests, these are the storms. You got a hurricane that's brewing right now in the Gulf of Mexico. You got tornadoes hitting in places where it's rarely ever happened. Places like China, You know, earthquakes going on in California and different parts of the world. Not too long ago, earlier in the year, you had Anchorage, Alaska, and throughout Alaska it was a huge earthquake. You know, and this is all prophesied in the scriptures, but this is the Most High that's doing this. The Most High is coming to visit, you know, the other nations, you know, starting with the Edomites, so-called white people, you know, who are the chief of the enemies of Israel, you know, and of the Most High. You know, the Edomites, you so-called white people, are the chief enemies. So you're seeing a lot of these plagues coming, you know, fast and hard to various places, especially right here in Babylon, you know, which is known as America today. So this is how the Most High, you know, actually sees and feels about these things. Now I'm going to get into it and show. This is Proverbs. Speaking of the things that we're seeing, the events. The world looks at these as phenomena. It's a phenomenon, you know, but it's really not. These are the things that have been prophesied. And, you know, the heathen is dismayed by them because they can't, you know, put this, you know, with all their, you know, scientific studies, you know, and prognosticators, they can't predict this or put this in a box or say that, you know, why is this happening so much and in these places where it never happened, you know, because they're not spiritual. We are the spiritual ones. We are the children of light, the Israelites. This is Proverbs 1, and I'm going to start at, I'll start at verse 23. It says, turn ye at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you, and I will make known my words unto you, talking about the elect. So those who are waking up, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, is making his words known unto the elect. So that's why the elect can understand what's going on, can understand the scriptures. The seals were broken. Verse 24, because I have called and ye refuse, speaking about the 2/3. Speaking about the 2/3. You know, the 2/3 of the nation Israel is going to be destroyed, pertaining to Zechariah the 13th chapter. It says, because when I have called, ye have refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. How did the Lord do that? He didn't literally stretch his hand out. He did that through the prophets by giving his word. And then he said, no man regarded, meaning, you know, his people turned away. Verse 25, but ye have set and not all my counsel and with none of my reproof, but our people refuse to come back to doing what the Lord say through the prophets, out speaking the word. Only the elect would come. You know, 2/3 were going to be destroyed. So this is how the Most High feels about those who don't come back to him. Proverbs 1:26, I will also laugh at your calamity. So the Most High is laughing through his men, and he's laughing in the fourth dimension. You know, the Most High, when these calamities come, because they're going to get worse, he don't have pity. He doesn't feel sorrow. You know, when little kids get killed, you know, when these storms come and destroy whole neighborhoods, different parts of states, you know, disaster relief, you know, efforts can't get to you in time. You know, people get trapped, you know, tornadoes come and rip through, you know, 2 cities and kill people. You know, they were trying to say, well, luckily no people died. That's because the Most High didn't want no people to die yet. So he's doing crazy damage to the infrastructure, which is destroying America, you know? So the Most High is gradually just destroying this place, Babylon, first and foremost. So the Lord says he's going to mock when your fear cometh, because the true destruction is coming. These are the beginnings for the elect to get right, to see it and line it up with the Bible and know that this is the time that the Lord is coming to visit the earth. He promised this. That's why the first script I gave says that you're going to be visited of the Lord by the storms, by all of the signs. We're going to continue to show that. It says, when your fear cometh as a desolation and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. That's what this is. Tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, you know, these are whirlwinds. When your distress and anguish cometh upon you, because this is just heavy distress and anguish coming upon the people of the earth. Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. So the Most High is not going to answer those who don't come back to him. You know, because once this thing really get bad and it really get going, the more and more, you know, the elect are being sealed. You know, the storms and the calamities are intensifying. We get closer to Jacob's trouble. So the more this happens, you're gonna have, when the elect are sealed, you're gonna have those, you know, of the 2/3 who are gonna want to come and believe in. It's gonna be too late. It says, they shall seek me early, but they shall not find me, because those who are going to be found are the ones that's turning at the Lord's reproof, meaning his word. you know. And this is Proverbs 1:29. It says, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord. Because, you know, the Bible says fools hate knowledge, to not come back to this truth, you know. It says they would, verse 30, they would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. They despise the words of the Lord. So there's going to be, you know, recompense for that from the Most High. You know, but the Most High is the one that's doing this. Let's get another precept, supporting precept real quick. This is Luke 21. Speaking about these storms. It's Luke 21, and I'm going to start at verse 11. Luke 21 and 11, and it reads, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. So these great earthquakes we're seeing all over the world, you know, month after month, year after year, in places where, you know, they haven't seen this before, the likes of this. Places where, you know, they didn't even know that there was a fault line for this to even happen. That's how frequently this is going on, because we're in the last days, whether people believe it or not. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, meaning all over different parts of the world. And famines and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. And there's famines going on, you know, throughout South America, Central America, throughout Africa, and various parts of the world. You know, it said there shall be great signs that shall appear. Signs shall there be from heaven. So great signs are going to appear. And this goes back to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah real quick. Get that. This is Jeremiah 10 and 1. It says, and it reads, hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai speak unto you, O house of Israel. So the Lord speaking to Israel through his prophets. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai, learn not the way of the heathen. Means to come out of the ways. You know, Zechariah 2 and 6 speaks about that. You know, coming out of the ways of Babylon. So the Lord is through the prophets telling his people to come back and get safety, get protection, which is his word, coming back to being an Israelite, doing his will. It says, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. See, they're dismayed. You know, signs of the chariots, all these things going on. These, you know, there was another eclipse, you know, not too long ago, seen over South America, much of South America. You know, since 2017, there's been, you know, blood moons and eclipses happening one after another. The Bible predicted that. The Most High said this will happen. So when it says the custom of the people are in vain, Salakia, verse 2, learn not the way of the heathen, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed. Going back to what it says here. Great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. These are the signs from the Most High. You know, these are the signs from the Most High, showing these are the great signs that's in heaven. You know, and I'm gonna go with my next precept. I didn't want to make this video too long. Let me go to the Apocrypha real quick. This is our second Esdras. So these are some of the signs, and it's the reason why. The second Esdras, let's go to 16. Yeah, second Esdras 16, verse and 19. Matter of fact, we'll start here. Second Esdras 16, starting at verse 17. And it reads, Second Ezra 16 and 17, woe is me, woe is me. This is Ezra, the prophet, Esdras, who's prophesying this. Woe is me, he said. Who will deliver me in those days? What days? These last days. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great death. This is the beginning of the great death. You know, we're going to get what this is in a second. The beginning of wars. We're hearing about all the nations getting ready to fight in the battle of Armageddon. You know, all the various nations. You know, this is that nuclear war that's prophesied in the Bible. And the power shall stand in fear. You know, because, you know, the elites, you know, starting with them, some of the powers of the earth, they're in great fear. You know, it says the beginning of evils. It says, what shall I do when these evils shall come? This is a question that we should be asking ourselves, and how we prepare, you know, and in serving the Most High in sincerity and truth. See, you know, working on our own salvation with fear and trembling. Not worried about the next man, or worried about, you know, we should be worried about ourselves, you know, trying to seek the Lord, you know, for ourselves, and do the will of the Most High to the best of our ability. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are set as scourges for a minute. This is payback. The Most High is doing this for payback. The scourges for a minute. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, because the people, Israel is not turning back. 2/3 are not going to do it, and we see it right now. The truth has been out here, and it's out here, being pushed at a high volume. Just as the famine of the word is getting ready to come. The people, they in la la land. The people are, drunk off the wine of Babylon. So they can't see it. And that's all spiritual why they can't see it. Now here we go. I'm gonna get the next, precept, because, the scriptures just told us, that, these are scourges, scourges of amendment, and this time is going to be a time that's never been seen on the earth. Now, we'll precept that real quick. Get like 2 more precepts and I'll be done. Oh, Salakia. Yeah, right here. So I'm going to go Jeremiah 30. Yeah, we're going to go Jeremiah 30 and 7. So this is what this is. Jeremiah 30 and 7, it reads, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it this time. The Bible says it's going to be a time such as there's never been on the earth, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. The elect are going to be saved out of it. The Most High is going to allow for that remnant that he said to be saved out of it. Next precept showing that is, this is the time that the Lord promised that was going to come. Over and over and over again in the Bible. Daniel 12, same thing right here. This is precept upon precept, proving of what the scriptures are talking about, validating what's going on in the world at this very time. Daniel 12 and 1, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, which is talking about Israel, talking about the elect, the remnant, that the Lord prophesied that he was going to save. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book of that shall be found written in the book, which is prophesied and predestinated who the elect are. Those who the Most High, already predestinated to get this truth and to come back to him, they're going to be saved out of this, which is this calamity and destruction. Where we see earthquakes in diverse places, tornadoes all over the place, which is tempests and storms, storms brewing in the Gulf, famine going on all over the world, and it's intensifying. The nations, wars and rumors of wars. Matter of fact, in the spirit, got to get that too. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew and get that real quick. This is Matthew's my last precept. Matthew 24. Let's see, start around here. Yeah. Matthew 24 and 6, and it reads, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Meaning, all of the prophecies that have to happen before the destruction come. So all the things that's been written that's left to be done, the mark of the beast, Jacob's trouble, which is going to include, a famine of food, a famine of the word, race wars, indiscriminate killing, and total anarchy on the streets of the world, throughout the streets of the world, that's what's been prophesied. So those things still have to happen before the Lord is going to allow the missiles to drop. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation. We're seeing that. And kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Same thing is said in Luke 21. Earthquakes in diverse places. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrow. So this is a time of great sorrow coming to the earth. So these are the times, I'm going to highlight that one. All these are the beginning of sorrows. This is the time of sorrow the Most High prophesied said it was going to happen. With that, I hope that was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors be to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings be to the hopeful elect, the 144,000, the house of David. Habayath Madabadah. I say shalom.